Hey everyone, so the March SAT is coming up, and I thought it'd be nice to make a last minute tips video that will 100% surely help you. I think that you can definitely gain a lot from these insights, so I want to skip any part of the video. Obviously, if you skip to the end of the video, you can see all the tips, but I don't think that's going to really help you in any way, shape, or form. So let's get into the tips. So the first one is a one-page cheat sheet. So let's see if I can type this out. So essentially what you're going to do is the night before your SAT exam, or honestly, you could do this maybe 1 or 2 days before, you're going to take out a piece of paper and write down any key concepts or formulas, but also you want to keep note of things like common mistakes you made, right? So let's say you took practice tests and you keep track of all the mistakes you made. Maybe that's something you want to note down, but also specific traps that you've fallen for in the past that you want to avoid on the test, or specific question types or patterns. All those things are things you want to keep note of on your cheat sheet. And it's nice because then once you make that, you can sleep on it. And then the day of the test, you wake up and then you read sort of a summary, right, of all your studying condensed down, all the things you want to keep in mind, and that's super nice. And so that ties directly into tip number 2, which is to brain dump at the start, okay? All right, so before we get to the rest of the video, I just want to let you guys know that we have a blog called Spike, where every single week we're going to bring you SAT, AP tips, study hacks, college admission secrets, extracurriculars, all that. So if that's your cup of tea, make sure you click the first link in the description to subscribe. Now let's get back into the video. The most optimal way to implement this tip is to pretty much replicate your cheat sheet on scrap paper that you are provided on test day. Okay, you get a scrap piece of paper, you have a pencil, and so, I mean, many times you can do this during the intermission or waiting period while people are getting signed into the tests, but you can also do this during the 10-minute break, even during the actual modules, especially if it's like module 1. So for example, on module 1 math, what I'll do is not start on the questions, but jot down those, tricky or just important key formulas and concepts that I want to know, because I know I'll be using those on module 2 and I'll have plenty of time on module 1. So it's definitely worth the time there to invest there. So that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, going on to tip number 3 is extreme answer choices. Okay, so this specifically has to do with the English section of the SAT. When you have answer choices with very extreme language and vocab, like always, never, all, none, those are a red flag. Okay, that's something to keep out an eye for, because these answer choices are very likely to overgeneralize, whereas most SAT English passages are usually much more nuanced than that, all right? Next up, tip number 4 is performance optimization. If I can spell. Performance optimization. What is performance optimization? I mean, that's just jargon, okay? Basically, you need to know your strengths and your weaknesses. So usually for English, like the common trend is for people to start on question 15, right? The grammar questions, because for most people, grammar is easier for them than the long reading passages. And so the way people do this is they want to get out all the questions that they know they are confident on, right? Because all the points, you could lose a lot more points for missing easier questions compared to answering a hard question wrong, right? Hard questions are actually worth less points on the SAT. But also you want to build confidence and rapport, right? Because let's you get grammar questions, then you can get those, maybe 5 grammar questions in a row versus 5 long reading passages, which is much harder to answer correctly in a row. And so if you're able to answer questions in quick succession, that builds your confidence. And so that sets a tone for the rest of the exam, right? If you, right off the gate, you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, then you have a really, really negative mindset going into the rest of the test, and that's going to negatively affect your test performance. So the last tip is to plan your morning, okay? I say this every single SAT. Eliminate variables. Not eliminating variables as in SAT math, although that's important, but eliminating variables as in you want to make sure that your brain is focused on the test exclusively, right? So the night before, right? Visualize how you will wake up, eat your breakfast, prep your materials, whatever, right? Arrive at the testing center. Make sure your testing device and everything is all set and you can log in and stuff, because if you run into tech issues, that is just going to take your mind off and be distracted. It's going to be horrible. But yeah, that's just, plan your morning, know your ritual and all that. That's it for all the tips. If you guys are prepping for the SAT, make sure you check out our free full prep course with full SAT math and English review, but don't cram too hard. It's important to stay fresh, but also prepared and confident. So best of luck on your SAT. I'll see you guys in another video.